If you can believe it, 2025 is almost over, and for me it was a pretty good reading year. Here, in some kind of order, are the best books I read during the year. Before we get underway, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel of another YouTube creator you enjoy, or the algorithm will put them in the bottom tier of some AI-generated clickbait ranking video. Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Ballingrud is the start of his lunar gothic trilogy. It fuses gothic tales, early 20th century pulp science fiction, body horror, psychological horror, and cosmic horror into a story I call persistently weird. It's short, strange, deeply unsettling, and not for readers with arachnophobia. It stands out as one of my favorites of the year and as one of the most surprising reads I picked up in 2025. Where the Body Was by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips is a graphic novel concerning a death that happens in a small neighborhood in 1984. It's told from multiple perspectives, so it delves into the lives of these characters and their secrets as much as the mystery of who killed this guy in broad daylight without anyone seeing. It is an excellent addition to everything else that Brubaker and Phillips have done, so if you like their previous work, some of which I talk about in other reviews you could check out, or if you just like crime stories with a collection of twisted characters, I recommend this one, even if you're not normally a fan of comic books and graphic novels. The Burnout Society by philosopher Byung-Chul is an essay collection that explores problems affecting the contemporary post-industrial world. An underlying question being, if there is so much abundance more easily produced than ever, why are so many people working so hard and so profoundly unhappy and unhealthy? At its core, the book examines how many people now live in ways where we are both working ourselves to death and amusing ourselves to death. It's worth reading to see someone of intelligence and consideration examine a problem that many of us have likely felt without being able to put into words, and it's generally approachable enough where you can understand what Han is saying without needing a degree in philosophy. A Brightness Long Ago by Guy Gavriel Kay is a great fantasy novel set in a fantastical world reminiscent of Italy in the early Renaissance. The characters are all engaging and complex. The plot takes twists I didn't see coming, and Kay's writing style makes it easy to fall into the world and move along with everything that is happening. It loosely connects to some of his other novels, but even if you haven't read them, you can pick up this one and jump into the story with no problem. If you've enjoyed any of Guy Gavriel Kay's works before, or are just a fan of good fantasy writing, there's no reason not to read A Brightness Long Ago. The Doomsters by Ross MacDonald is one of his mystery novels following the private detective Lou Archer. In it, Archer is drawn into an investigation and manhunt concerning one of the heirs of a wealthy California family. On top of just being a good private investigator novel, The Doomsters has depth that is both psychological and mythic, as the mental and moral states of multiple characters are called into question, along with the plot creating allusions to classical Greek tragedy. Ross MacDonald almost never disappoints, and this novel is among his best. They Shoot Horses, Don't They? By Horace McCoy is a crime noir classic for a reason. I knew it by reputation, but I was not prepared for just how sharp the writing is, how powerful the imagery is, and the strength of its symbols. Even if you set all that aside, the novel creates this incredible incredible story of people in a non-stop dance contest trying to gain fame or even just a means to survive during the Depression. It also has Gloria, one of the most caustic and nihilistic characters I've ever read, yet she is totally real and believable. Broken Mirrors, Broken Minds by Maitland McDonough is an exploration of the career of Italian filmmaker and stylist Dario Argento. Taking a look at many of his films to understand them in particular and how they fit into the long arc of his career, the book is worth it just for the glimpse into the independent European film world of the late 20th century. The details on the choices and productions that crafted Argento's movies not only gives insight into the filmmaker, but also gives evidence as to why his movies proved popular and inspirational for so many genre filmmakers across the world. Altered Carbon by Richard Morgan is a strong cyberpunk neo-noir story that integrates its science fiction elements without getting lost in the technical weeds. Implicitly dystopian as all cyberpunk is, there is a solid, hard-boiled detective story at the foundation of this novel. Its thematic exploration of both increasing wealth inequality and the growing intimacy between digital and real life is enough to make it resonate. Added to this is the look into the commodification and disposability of the human body. In a time where unbelievably rich individuals talk seriously about living forever and how technology will solve all problems, including the ones it creates, Altered Carbon exposes the hollowness of those ideas. The Netflix adaptation is very different in tone and even characters and major plot points, so even if you've seen it, you should read the novel. A lot of this book has stuck with me, which I was not expecting, and is one of the reasons it's on this list. A Wild Sheep Chase by Haruki Murakami is a difficult novel to describe. Ostensibly, it's the story of a 1970s Japanese ad executive forced to track down a specific sheep, or someone from the Japanese cultural elite will have him killed. It is an existentialist and absurdist story that uses the core of a detective novel to give everything some sense of shape and structure. Sometimes funny, but always strange. While it's not Murakami's best novel, it is a good place to start for anyone interested in trying out his fiction. Many of the author's stylistic choices are present. The effects of a person disappearing, surrealism, a dry tone, travel to strange locations, ambiguity, lost love, pop culture elements, critique of authority, and the complex relationship between memory and nostalgia. Damnation Alley by Roger Zelazny is a top-notch science fiction adventure story about Hal Tanner having to drive a cure for the plague across the chaotic and irradiated middle of a post-apocalyptic North America. A story of daring, travel, and survival. It is amazing in its own right, and it set the groundwork for later stories like Mad Max and Fallout. There you have it, the best books I read in 2025. But what do you, the audience at home, think? Have you read these books? What did you think of them? If you didn't read them, do you plan to put them on your list for future reading? What were the best books you read in 2025? Feel free to share your thoughts and recommendations in the comments, and be sure to check out the video's description for more links to full reviews or to other YouTube creators. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate this channel and want to support it, you know what to do. Until next time, read some good books, live, and be well.